Well, hey everyone, and welcome back to the Empowered Life podcast. And I'm so glad you're here for part 2 of our Peru mission adventure. So if you have not seen part 1 yet, I want you to hit pause and I want you to go catch up and then come right back because you're not going to want to miss what is ahead. So this next stretch of our Peru journey is packed with so much heart, y'all. It's kids being kids and mentors going above and beyond, muddy mountain roads and rainbow peaks. And honestly, still the best part of all is the amazing people that we got to meet and learn from while we were there. So many of their stories are going to be coming soon to this podcast. So make sure, if you haven't already, that you've subscribed so you do not miss any of those. So really what this whole journey to Peru reminded me of is that when ordinary people show up with just love and consistency and courage, that big things happen and kids start dreaming bigger and whole communities can grow stronger and hope shows up. And the best part is it stays. As you're watching these trips, you're thinking, man, I want to go. I say, come with us. We have several great trips already lined up, even more ahead for 2026. So go to alliesyouth.org/trips. We would love to have you and you can learn more. All right, well, buckle up for part 2 and come see how one empowered life really can change everything. Let's jump in.
So we began our day exploring the ancient city of Ollantaytambo, giving us another chance to dive deeper into Peru's rich history and culture. I love that experiences like these were woven into our trip because I believe that serving well starts with understanding. The more we learned about the people and their heritage, the more our hearts just expanded. So that way we could truly honor the communities that we came to walk alongside. So from there, we made our way to our next stop, an orphanage called Azulwasi, which is tucked in the quiet town of Oropesa, about an hour south of Cusco. Well, as we walked up to the home, one of the first things I noticed was painted on one of the walls was Jeremiah 29:11, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord." So during our visit, we got to surprise the kids and the mentors with some new computers. These tools mean way more than just technology. For them, this is education, this is opportunity, and it is a chance for a better future. And they were so excited and so grateful. So Azulwasi is more than just a shelter for boys. It's a refuge for children who've walked through unimaginable challenges. And for the past 3 years, Allies mentors have shown up month after month to play and encourage and engage and just remind these boys that they are not alone. At first, many of the boys are reserved and just hesitant to trust, but little by little, they open up, sometimes through the simplest connections like playing a game of soccer. But then the walls just start to come down and laughter breaks through and love finds its way in. So from there, we had some extra special fun plans for the boys. Go-karting, and it's not every day that these kids just get to be kids, to laugh and have fun and just forget about their worries for a bit. And y'all, these mentors, I don't know if I've said this yet, but I'll say it again, they're incredible. Their energy and their passion and their love is so contagious. And can I just say, go-karting in a valley surrounded by the Andes Mountains while you're weaving in and out of cows with 360-degree mountain views and this incredible sunset, it was unreal. Even our mission team jumped in for some friendly competition and maybe a little bit of bragging rights too. And then it was the details really that made this experience so sweet. The mentors didn't just take them go-karting. They had planned and prepared. They brought goodie bags for each child, and they even handmade these awards so that every one of them would feel celebrated and seen. And it was just a small thing on the surface, but their faces said it all. They felt honored and special, and they knew they mattered. And on a side note, the dogs Can I just say, the Peru dogs are amazing. They're everywhere. They're sweet and friendly, and they're big ones and little ones, and if I lived here, I would be taking them all in. So at the end of the day, we got to do what is becoming one of my favorite parts, and that is just to encourage and bless the mentors. I know I've said it before, and I'll keep saying it because that is the heartbeat of why we came. These volunteers are boots on the ground. They're the ones showing up when no one is watching, and they're pouring out their time and their energy and their hearts long after we go home. The next day brought a piece of the puzzle that I didn't even know was missing. So all week I'd just been blown away by the passion and energy of these mentors, and I kept asking myself, like, where does this come from? And then I sat down with Liz and it all made sense. So Liz is the rock. She's a fearless, faith-filled leader of the South American Allies team. And the love that you see in these mentors, that is a reflection of Liz's leadership. So we capture the whole conversation just for you, and trust me, you don't want to miss it. So keep an eye out for Liz's episode on this podcast and you'll see exactly what I mean. So we had a full day planned. We kicked it off by filling our bellies and lifting our spirits, stopped by a local chocolate factory, and then we got to share in another amazing meal together, and it was just a sweet moment of connection before we stepped into what we knew was going to be some of the hardest and most emotional hours of our trip. So our first stop that day was at a very special home tucked high away in Cusco. This is a safe haven for girls who have survived the unthinkable trauma of human trafficking. So for their safety, we can't take photos or show their faces, but I can tell you that what happens inside the walls of this place is sacred. So many of these girls carry wounds that words can't hold, and the journey to trust is slow. So our role that day was really just to encourage the leaders who stand in the gap for these young women month after month. So one young woman was a survivor and a previous resident of this house, and she asked to sit with us and tell her story. She wanted us to know about how when she arrived, she had completely lost her will to life until Allies mentors started speaking life over her and helping her to believe in herself again. Today, she's in college and she wants to work with children, and she can't wait for the day until she can become an Allies mentor herself. Y'all, hope lives here because of these leaders. They don't stop showing up and fighting for restoration and redemption. So our next stop was Casa Verde, and when we arrived, they were ready for us. Man, music and dancing and hugs and cheers filled the house, and they surprised us with this huge welcome party. So Casa Verde is a privately run home just for girls, and these girls have come from some of the hardest places you can imagine. Some were rescued from the street, some were abandoned and entered into the adoption system, and Allies mentors have been showing up at Casa Verde for about 3 years now, and because of the trust that's grown here with the director and the caregivers, staff turnover is super low, and our mentors have been able to build something so special here. They come back month after month and keep reminding these girls that they're not alone. And so when we walked in, the mentors had planned some games that really spoke to the girls' worth and value. And then they gathered us for a surprise, and the girls stood up and they sang a song, Que Cantin Los Niños. And at the time, I didn't know what the words meant because they were singing in Spanish, but one of the local mentors pulled me aside and shared what the lyrics were. In one line, it says, "Let the children sing, those who live in peace and those who suffer pain. Let them sing for those who will not sing because their voices have been silenced." And y'all, hearing that, it hit me. That's what this mentorship is about. It's about helping these girls find their voices again and giving them a safe place to be heard and to dream about a better future. So our past visit to this home, our team saw how worn down parts of the house had become. And so during this visit, we got to do more than just encourage them. So with the help of a generous donor, we surprised them with a gift to make some much needed repairs around the house. Might seem small, but for these girls, a safe and dignified place says to them, you matter and you're worth it. So we ended the night with a sweet visit with Mary. She's the leader of the home for human trafficking survivors. And so she opened up about what it really takes to stand in the gap for these girls and the weight that she carries and why she does what she does. You'll hear more of her story coming soon. It deserves a space of its own. The next day gave us a chance to slow down and breathe it all in a bit, and just time to connect with our team and take in more of Peru's rich landscapes and culture that was all around us. So these moments in between are so important. This is where we rest and laugh and just deepen our bonds with the people that we're serving alongside. It really refuels us for what's ahead. From there, we traveled to JCP. So JCP Ministries is a safe transitional home for young men and women who've aged out of the orphanage system, but still need some guidance and support to step confidently into adulthood. And at the heart of JCP is Dickner. So he is a leader whose story really left us speechless. He didn't grow up in an orphanage. He grew up in an extremely remote, impoverished corner of Peru, had no access to education or opportunity. And as a young boy, he dreamed of a different future. So before he was even 10, Dickner made an unthinkably brave choice, and he left home and moved by himself into the city so he could get an education. He worked at a local bakery and would sleep there at night and just live off leftovers and then go to school during the day. So he sacrificed his childhood just to get an education because he knew that was his way to break the cycle. During his teen years, a mentor stepped in and changed everything for him, called out his worth and opened doors. And that man later founded JCP Ministries, where Dickner now works to serve young adults and give them the tools they need for a better future. So after hearing Dickner's story, we got to see the fruit of his leadership firsthand at the JCP restaurant, El Pollo Inca. So the men and women who live at JCP run every part of this restaurant, from cooking to serving. So they're learning responsibility, teamwork, and the confidence that comes from work. So we sat down together, shared a delicious chicken meal, and got to watch these people shine. So Dickner's story is proof that the ripple effect of mentorship is real. His full story is one that you'll get to hear on an upcoming podcast, so keep watching for that. So we kicked off the morning with what felt like the best kind of shopping trip so we could bring a little piece of Peru home with us. But this wasn't just your average gift shop. We visited a local wool factory that does so much more than make beautiful blankets. This place is the heartbeat of this small rural community. Every blanket made here helps sustain families and preserve generations of this craft and really keeps this village thriving. So watching the skill and care that goes into each piece made it feel that much more meaningful. And yes, our bags may have been a bit heavier after this stop, but so were our hearts. Now it's time for one last adventure, and this one was going to stretch us in ways we really didn't expect. So we set out for Rainbow Mountain, which is one of Peru's natural wonders, perched high in the Andes Mountains. It's at 16,000 feet above sea level. That's 3 times higher than Denver, Colorado. So this mountain is famous for unbelievable stripes of color that are created naturally by mineral deposits and layered over centuries. But the path we took wasn't the typical tourist route, so a few locals volunteered to guide us up this rugged back road, and one by one, our cars kept getting sunk into deep mud ruts. And each time, our team would just rally, and we would push and haul big rocks and dig out with however we could. And at one point, we even had to abandon a couple cars altogether and just squeeze into the remaining cars, shoulder to shoulder, sitting on each other's laps. Locals would pass us by, and they did not hesitate to jump in and help. I never will forget this one older man who came running down the hill with this giant boulder in his arms, and he was grinning ear to ear, just ready to help us get out of the mud. So we pressed on up the mountain until we got as far as we could, and the rest was up to us just to walk and go as far as we could. So at that elevation, every step is work. You're just trying to breathe. But when we hit the top and looked up, the view took whatever breath we had away. At that point, it actually started snowing on us. Here, our last day in Peru, it was like God just put this bow on the whole moment.
Be an ally. If you are, you will become younger.
We were standing there breathless, and I just couldn't think about how far we had come and how many moments we could have turned around when the cars got stuck or when we were tired or when the mountain felt too steep, but we didn't. And isn't that just how God pursues his children? No road is too rough, no village too remote, no climb too steep. And when we feel stuck in the mud and ready to quit, he sends help and he picks us up and he pushes us forward. So just when we thought the day had peaked, we went straight into something that we had been waiting for all week, the grand opening of the brand new Allies Library. We were muddy and tired and still grinning from the mountain, but somehow we still had more energy than ever. So this library is more than just a building full of books. It is a dream come true for this community. Generous Allies donors came together to fund this project, and their investment will impact kids and families for generations to come. So it's located right in the heart of this rural village where access to books and learning tools and just a safe place to study has been very limited. So for many kids here, this is the first time they've had a space like this. And this library, it's more than just books. It came to be because of our local mentors, and they did not have a place to meet with the kids. And now they do.
Lord, we thank you. We thank you for this library. We thank you for all the children that will learn about you here.
So we even had a local team from the Astrological Center come to the celebration and teach the kids about the stars, and they got to look through a telescope and imagine a world so much bigger than they've ever known. And the shelves, y'all, they didn't fill themselves. We had volunteers back in the U.S. collecting and packing hundreds of books in Spanish. So these are Bibles, storybooks, learning materials for all ages. When the kids walk through the doors, they have something there waiting for them in their curious minds. So the library is proof that real change is a team effort. So some people donated money to build it, and some gave up their weekends to pack books, and some left the comforts of their home to travel here for this grand opening. And the local mentors, they're the ones that are going to keep coming month after month, pouring into the kids here. And so you might not have the full $12,000 it takes to build a library like this, but you could maybe help fund a part of it, or maybe you could give of your time or your connections or your prayers or your skills. Maybe you could help restock the shelves or spread the word, or even come see it for yourself one day. The bottom line is this: when each one of us brings whatever it is that we have, no matter how big or small, it adds up to real lasting impact. So one man told me, this is not just a library. This is going to change our community for generations. And watching those kids run inside, wide-eyed and flipping through the pages, I believed him. I saw it. So for our final night in Peru, our team climbed back up the mountain in the dark to visit the Astrological Center. Tucked high in the Andes, this small but remarkable center is dedicated to preserving and sharing Peru's rich cultural knowledge of the stars. So once again, our friends met us the only way Peruvians know how, and that's with music and hospitality and hearts wide open. And then a surprise, as we stepped outside to top it all off, a local band was there. They pulled out their guitars and they started leading us in worship right there under the stars. And y'all, it was in that moment, looking up at this huge sky and standing shoulder to shoulder with new friends who really felt more like family, it all just hit me. Just the bigness of God, the closeness of God, His majesty and His intimacy, somehow both at the same time. That night was a perfect ending, and so here is what I hope that you will take with you. You don't have to be in the Andes to live on a mission, and you don't have to travel across the world to make an impact. You can show up right where you are, in your neighborhood, your school, and your workplace. Maybe your mountain is a kid down the street who just needs to know that someone sees them. This is what the empowered life is all about. It's just ordinary people doing extraordinary things when they say yes to showing up. And so as we wrap up this journey in Peru, my prayer is simple. May you be brave enough to take your next step. May you see the beauty waiting at the end of your own hard climb. And may you remember that one empowered life really can change everything.